Welcome to Brainish English Stories.
At noon, the tiler and the mason came down from the roof of the village church, which they were fixing, and crossed the road to the tavern to eat their lunch. It had been a nice, calm morning, but dark clouds were gathering in the south. Sam, the tiler, said it looked like there would be a thunderstorm. The two men sat in the dim little tap room, eating, while Bob, the mason, read from a newspaper about a murder trial. "I don't know what thunder looks like," Bob said, "but I think this man is going to be hanged, though I can't say exactly why. To me, it doesn't seem like he did it at all. But murder is a terrible thing, and someone should pay for it." "I don't think," Sam mumbled as he poked a flat piece of beetroot with his pocket knife and looked at it with patience until he could chew, "he should be hanged. There's no other ending for him, though," Bob said, "with so many lawyers, and a judge like that, and a jury too. Why, the rope is nearly around his neck right now. He'll be gone in a month. They only wait 3 Sundays, you know, from the sentence to the hanging." "Well, listen to that rain." A light sprinkle turned into a steady summer downpour. It splashed in through the open window, and the dim room became even darker and cooler. "Hanging is a horrible thing," Sam went on. "And I'm sure it's often unfair, yes, very unfair. Unfair. I'm telling you, at most trials, the people giving evidence usually know nothing about what really happened. The ones who know a lot, they stay home and keep quiet, that's for sure." "No? But why? Why?" "They have their reasons." "I know that. I know it's true. Listen to that rain. It's made the room feel cold." They watched the rain in complete silence for a few moments. "Hanging is a horrible thing," Sam repeated, almost sighing. "I can tell you a story about that, Sam, in a minute," said Bob. He started to fill his pipe from Sam's brass box, which was labeled cough lozenges and smelled of medicine. "About 10 years ago, I was working over in the Cotswold area. I remember I had gone to Gloucester one Saturday afternoon, and it rained. I was riding home in a carrier's van. I've never seen rain like that before, no, and never since. Not like that. BRRR. It came down, pounding. And we came to a crossroads where there's a bar called the Wheel of Fortune. It's very lonely and open there. I saw a young woman standing in the porch waiting for us, but the driver was wet, tired, and angry or something and wouldn't stop. 'No room,' he yelled to her. 'Full up, can't take you.' And he drove on. 'For the love of God, friend,' I said, 'stop and take that young woman. She's, can't you see?' 'But I'm already late,' he shouted back at me. You know the saying, 'Time and tide wait for no man.' 'Ah, but they do for a person in need,' I said. With that, he turned around, and we went back to get the girl. She climbed in and sat on my knees. I sat on a tub of vinegar. There was nowhere else to sit. And I was right, she was close to giving birth. The old van rattled along for 6 or 7 miles. Whenever it stopped, you could hear the rain hitting the tarp above us or splashing outside on the grass like it was breathing hard. The old horse was steaming and shaking from the cold. I had known the girl once, in a friendly way. She was a pretty young woman, but now she looked pale and sad and didn't say much. After a while, we came to another crossroad near a village, and she got out there. "Goodbye, my girl," I said kindly, and "Thank you, sir," she said, and off she went into the rain with her umbrella up. She was very pretty and still quite young. I had met her before, a girl you could really like, but I never saw her again after that. She got caught up in a bad situation. It all happened in the next 6 months while I was working around that area. Everyone knew about it. This girl's name was Edith, and she had a younger sister named Agnes. Their father was old Harry Mallerton, who ran the British Oak pub in North Quainey. He stuttered when he talked. Well, Edith had a love affair with a young man named William, and because she was so loving, she behaved foolishly. But she couldn't get him to do the right thing by herself, and she was afraid to tell her mother or father. You know how girls are. After they make mistakes, they get scared, very scared. But soon, she couldn't hide it anymore because she was living at home with everyone. So she wrote a letter to her mother. "Dear Mother," she wrote, and told her all about her problem. The mother was as angry as a wild animal, but Harry stayed calm and sent for young William, who didn't come at first. He lived close by in the village, so they finally went and brought him in. "All right, yes," he said. "I'll do what's right." I can't say anything fairer than that. No, they said you can't. So he kissed the girl and left, promising to come back in a day or two to settle things. But the next day, Agnes, the younger girl, also wrote a note to her mother, telling her some other shocking news. God above, the mother cried out. "Can it be true? Both of you girls, my own daughters, by the same man." "Oh, what were you both thinking? What can we do now?" "What?" Sam exclaimed. "Both of them? Both of them. As true as I'm standing here, both of them, same man." Mrs. Mallerton was scared to tell her husband at first because old Harry could be very rough when he was angry. So she sent for young William herself, but of course, he didn't come again. But they made him come, yes, when they told the girl's father. "Well, may I go to my DD damnation right now?" Old Harry yelled. He stuttered, you know. "If that isn't something." He took off his coat, picked up a stick, walked down the street to William, and knocked him to the ground. Then he beat him until William begged for mercy, but you couldn't stop old Harry once he was angry. He was like a devil. They say he beat him for a full hour. I can't say for sure, but after that, old Harry picked him up, carried him on his back to the British Oak, and threw him down in his own kitchen between his 2 daughters like a dead dog. They say the younger one, Agnes, jumped at her father like an angry cat until he hit her hard on the head and knocked her out. He was a rough man. "Well, she asked for it for sure," commented Sam. "She did," agreed Bob, but she was known as the quietest girl in Miles, very shy and gentle. "A quiet place can still get muddy," said Sam. "What do you mean?" "Oh, mud, yes. But they were both pretty girls, girls you could grow to like. Skin like apple blossoms and as alike as 2 flowers. They had to decide which one William would marry. Of course, yes. "I'll marry Agnes," William said. "No, you won't," the old man said. "You'll marry Edie." No, I won't, William replied. It's Agnes I love, and I'll marry her or I won't marry either of them. The whole time, Edith sat quietly, silent as a rock, not saying a word, just crying a little. But they say the younger one, Agnes, was making a big fuss, yelling and shouting. The troublemaker, said Sam. You could say that. But hold on, just wait. Another cup of beer? We can't go back to the church until this endless rain stops. No, we can't. I bet this rain won't stop before 4 o'clock. And if the roof doesn't hold up, it'll ruin the Lord's commandments they just painted up on the front wall of the church. Oh, they're dry by now, Bob said, trying to calm Sam down, and then he went on with his story. I'll marry Agnes, or I won't marry anyone, William said. They couldn't change his mind. No matter how much old Harry tried, William wouldn't listen. So, finally, Harry said, all right, we'll do it this way. He took out a half-crown coin from his pocket. Heads it's Agnes, he said, and tails it's Edith. No way. Huh, laughed Sam. Heads it's Agnes, tails it's Edie, so help me God. And it came up heads, it was Agnes. So, that was that. And did they live happily ever after? Happily. You don't know much about people, Sam. Where did you grow up? Heads it's Agnes, said old Harry. And right after that, Agnes threw her arms around William's neck and was ready to leave with him then and there. But there was a problem. William didn't have any family nearby. He was renting a room in the village. But when his landlady found out about all this, she kicked him out right away. No one else in the village would let him stay with them either. So, for safety, old Harry had to take him in, and they all lived together at the British Oak, all in one happy family. But the two girls couldn't stand to see each other, so their father fixed up an old shed in the yard, which they used for carts and chickens, and he put William and Agnes out there to live. What did they have in that shed? Asked Sam. Well, they had a couple of chairs, a sofa, and a bed. Agnes made it quite cozy. That was hard for Edith, though, wasn't it? Said Sam. It was hard for her, Sam, in some ways. And all this happened right before I met her in the carrier's van. She was very sad and serious back then, a pretty girl, one you could easily like. But there they all lived together. Edith never spoke to either of them again, and her father took her side too. What was worse, it turned out after the marriage that Agnes didn't have any problem at all. It was all a trick between her and William because he liked her more than Edith. And they never had a child, those two. But when poor Edith's child came along, believe it or not, Agnes loved that child more than its own mother, much more, and William, he practically worshipped that child. You don't say, Sam said. I do. It was a strange story, that one. Agnes loved that baby so much, and William loved it too. And Edith, she just watched, feeling left out, even though they all lived in the same house. But she never spoke to her younger sister again, not until the day she died. Oh, she died? Well, I guess that was the only way out of such a mess. Poor woman. You're feeling sorry for the wrong person. Bob filled his pipe from the brass box and lit it slowly. Then he went to the open window and spat into a puddle on the road. "You're feeling sorry for the wrong one, Sam. It was Agnes who died. One morning, they found her on the sofa, dead as a stone." "Oh my goodness," Sam whispered. "She was poisoned," added Bob, calmly puffing his pipe. "Poisoned. Yes, poisoned." Bob went on with his story. One morning, the mother went out to the yard to get some eggs. She started calling, "Edie, Edie, come here. You'll never guess where that hen laid her egg." And when Edie went out, her mother took her around to the back of the shed. There, on top of a wall, the hen had made a little nest and laid an egg. "I'd never believe it if I didn't see it," she said. "Isn't that something, Edie?" I wondered where she was laying. The other morning, the dog brought an egg in his mouth and put it on the doormat. "Aggie, Aggie, come look at this." But Aggie didn't answer, so the mother went inside and found her lying on the sofa in the shed, stone dead. "What did they think happened?" Sam asked after a pause. "That's what brings me back to this young fellow they're going to hang," said Bob, tapping the newspaper on the bench. "I don't know what goes on between two young women in a fight like that. Some can get over it fast, but some will never sleep well again. Edith must have been that kind. There are people around there who could tell you all about it if they wanted to. Some knew exactly where Edith got the poison and could even describe how she put it in a glass of barley water. Old Harry knew all about it too. He knew everything but kept quiet. He liked Edith and never said a word. Old Harry was clever, and nothing came out against Edith in the investigation or in court either. There was a trial? There was a kind of trial. Of course, there was. The police came and took poor William, and eventually, he was hanged. William. But what did he have to do with it? Nothing. It was bad for him, but he hadn't been honest, so no one stood up for him. They put together a case against him. There was some bad piece of evidence, and I bet old Harry knew something about it. William was finished. When things go against you, it's like there's no chance at all. And Edith, she sat in court the whole time, very pale and trembling, but when the judge put on his black cap, they say she blushed a little, looked over at William, and even gave a tiny smile. Well, he made her suffer, so I guess she thought he should suffer too. That's how I see it. But, oh my God. Yes, God knows everything. They were both pretty girls, both of them, and looked just alike. For a few moments, both the Tyler and the Mason sat quietly, finishing their cups of beer. Then Sam said, "I think the rain has finally stopped." "Yes, it has," Bob replied, excited. "Let's go and do some more work on this church, or it won't be finished before Christmas."